But nobody, with the death toll rising, is underestimating that we're in a serious situation. But what has emerged over the weekend is a real dilemma, I think. And it's going to become a huge issue for the authorities. What is the lockdown for? What is the point of the restrictions that are being put on people? Is it to stop the spread of coronavirus, or is it to put us under house arrest? We've seen the use of drones to try and identify who dog walkers are. We've seen drones on the beaches of Newquay, Fistral Bay, trying to find out who it is that's going for a walk across the beach. What are these regulations for? Are they to keep us locked in our houses, or are they to keep us separated from other people? I saw some photographs from North Acton tube station. Guess what? Mobbed. Absolutely mobbed. So we allow flights in without checking anybody, crowded airports, very busy London Underground and other commuter trains all across the rest of the country, and yet the police are putting dye in the Blue Lagoon in case a couple of people go for a swim. We've lost all sense of perspective with this, and of course there's always a danger that if you give the authorities too much power, they will abuse it. Worse still are the hotlines that have now been set up so you can grass up your neighbour. That's right, if your neighbour takes the dog out twice for a walk in one day, you can ring up the hotline so the old Bill Plod can be round at a moment's notice. I mean, I'm sure there are some chief constables out there that would like to go the whole hog. Why not sort of take us back to East Germany in the 1980s so that kids can report on the transgressions of their parents? I say that ever so slightly tongue-in-cheek, but I'm quite sure there are some in the police that would want us to do that. Oh, and while we're at it, very important, the Metropolitan Police put out a video to say that if anybody saw a rise in hate crime as a result of the COVID-19 crisis, even if they didn't think a crime had been committed, they should report it to the Metropolitan Police so that they can investigate. I mean, you really cannot make some of this stuff up. And yet, there was Michael Gove, one of the few cabinet ministers and senior politicians who's well enough to appear on the television. There he was yesterday, almost relishing that the next move could be that our daily jog from the house could be confined to 30 minutes, or the daily walk from the house could be confined to an hour. Maybe his own neighbours will have their stopwatches ready just to make sure that there is full compliance. Now look, I've taken the coronavirus crisis very seriously from the start. Those of you that have followed me know I was appalled by herd immunity. I thought we had to buy the NHS time and we had to buy ourselves time so that perhaps we can find some medicine, some sort of antidote to this virus that'll make the symptoms far less bad than they are at the moment. And I want us to be responsible about social distancing. I really do think if people are having big house parties late at night, that is ridiculous. And I think the police are entitled, in these circumstances, to break those up. But to put us effectively under house arrest and to see chief constables and senior cabinet ministers telling us they're going to crack down further, even when we are being responsible and we are socially distancing, well, I tell you what, I will not be put under house arrest by Michael Gove or anybody else. And I certainly won't do it until they stop flights coming in without people being tested and start putting a few more services on our trains and undergrounds to stop the overcrowding. Common sense is what is needed here, not house arrest for citizens. And I tell you, there's a great danger in this. And the danger is that people see these nonsenses, people see these abuses of power, and they start breaking the guidelines wholesale. In doing so, of course, the irony is they might actually start to spread coronavirus in a way that these regulations are supposed to stop. People will only respect the rules. People will only respect the government if the government and the police forces are seen to respect the people. And I think we're not very far away from that beginning to break down. Please, somebody inside government, understand you can't bully the British out of their freedoms. It's why in 1954 unlike every other country in Europe, we gave up identity cards. Do you know why? Because actually, law-abiding Brits just simply weren't prepared to carry them. Didn't want to live in a country where you could be stopped in the street and asked to produce your papers. And I don't think we're any different now. The vast majority of us recognise the fact this is a national emergency. We are all prepared to do our bit. You can tell that by the 700,000 people that have volunteered to get involved and help. But when it comes to social distancing, yeah, we get it, apart from a few idiots, we get it. But please, please, don't give the police excessive powers. Don't put us under house arrest. Otherwise, we'll lose all respect for you and for rules that could, applied properly, be very sensible indeed.